All right. This is episode 3, so track 3, steady pace. Now, I'm going to start differently because I want to talk about the process on how I got the drums. I really struggled with this track with the drums. I think I went through about 4 different tracks. In fact, Chris from L&J Sessions laid down his harmonica to a completely different track and feel, which is kind of amazing because the harmonica just absolutely kills it, which I'll go over in a little bit. But this is Easy Drummer. I referenced it before. It's a very I have a basic kit. All right. So this is steady pace, the drums. It's got that boom bap feel. It's got a little bit of swing to it. I really like it, but I didn't love the sound. I wanted more of that MPC style. So I want it to sound sampled without it being sampled. So this is where I actually opened this up into a separate Logic file because I use something called Varispeed. Now, if you're a Logic user, you might have to go into custom and then customize it and make sure Varispeed is turned on. So what I did was I turned this up all the way to 110, and then Varispeed, you have some different options. You have speed and pitch or speed only. MPCs would often do speed and pitch, so I wanted that. And you can actually do it by percentage most of the time. But what I did is resulting tempo. And so now this is 96 BPM. So it went from, let's turn Varispeed off, and this is 110. So if you think about it, a lot of the funk records that were sampled, they were upbeat. So they were maybe 105, 120. And then what some of the hip hop artists would do is they would slow it down. So I wanted to mimic that as best as I could. So now I'm going to turn Varispeed back on and I'm going to have it locked into 96. So this is what it sounded like. I love that. I love that sound, but we have to do one step further. So I use this Abbey Road. This is a tape machine, and I use the mastering fat, tight, and open. So that's going to give it a little more grit. And then I use my favorite plugin, Decapitator, and I really crank this. So now you get this sound. So you go from this to this. Is it perfect? No, but it fits the vibe of the song so much better. So now let's get into the actual song. All right, so now we're in the song. I just showed you the drums. So this is the drums with full processing now, so you can hear them. And I use some scratch samples here. Let's see, let's just do the scratch. And then I also found this sample. This sample comes from a 1960s PSA. So this is the sample, and I chopped it up. And I also use the slow down and speed up. That gives it that scratch effect. So this is what it sounds like.
Read in spite of that aptitude, but eventually dropped out of school. Terrible waste.
So when I put that with the scratching sample,
Read in spite of that aptitude, but eventually dropped out of school. Terrible waste.
Yeah, cool. Right? I can't scratch. I wish I could. But if I put that with the drums,
Read in spite of that aptitude, eventually dropped out of school. Terrible waste.
cool. Yeah, I love it. And then the bass is following, let's see, we have the bass and the acoustic guitar. My goal with this was actually to mimic what in 90s hip hop was so popular, was that electric or that acoustic bass, that upright bass. I don't think I hit it, but I wanted to use the real bass. I didn't want to use the upright bass sample for this track. So this is what it sounds like. So it's just following that kick drum, that swing kick drum. And when I put that with the scratching sound now.
Red in spite of that aptitude, eventually dropped out of school. Terrible waste.
All right. And then the main vocals, the beginning is slightly different. You see a lot of processing on that, but a lot of that's basic stuff. I currently don't have access to hardware, so I'm running a lot. Like I'm running compressors in parallel here, or I guess, is that in parallel? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm running one compressor right after the other, so I'm using a 76 and 1176 by waves here. That's cutting off the peaks of the vocal, and then the LA2A is really just smoothing everything out. So I'm doing that classic 76 to 2A combo there. So that and some EQing, so some slight pitch correction. I'm using a de-esser here. But what really changes, I believe, is this. Yeah, so in the beginning, I'm using that phone preset. I love the phone preset, but I often will tweak it based on the instrument and change it out so it's a little bit wider. This is what the intro vocals sound like.
We go to college to get degrees, not for job.
So it's overdriven with Decapitator, I'm sure, yes. And then it also has that phone effect. And then when you get into the chorus, that phone effect goes away.
Running out of time.
But this one, just like So Familiar, I did leave a lot of dirt on the vocals. I wanted it to sound kind of like one of those old school 60s, 70s mics that was naturally tube driven, that had that natural distortion, not necessarily Strokes sounding, but kind of that ilk, maybe early G Love. It's got that really nice tube warmth, but you're pushing the tube a little too far. That was the vibe I was going for here. So during that, you guys hear my dog? During that part, there's really nothing else going on. We've got some octaves. Let's solo these. I forget what these sound like. They probably sound hilarious. Yup. Absolutely ridiculous. Notice how far down they are. Negative 42 dBs. Barely audible. For good reason, I'd imagine.
To get degrees, not for job opportunities.
Yeah, you can barely hear it. I probably did it, and it took me some time, and I edited all the vocals, and I said, screw it, keep it in, because without that, it would have been a waste of time. So, let's go over here. We have some thirds, so that when this comes in.
World has changed, ain't because of me.
All right. In the vocal or in the chorus, just like other songs, I will do the chorus stacks. So here's the vocal stack for the chorus.
Running out of time, we ain't got no time to waste. Moving at no steady pace, I won't fall behind. Ain't gonna be last in line.
Yeah. Really thick. Really thick. A lot of harmonies going on there. And that's originally I had drums in that part, and you can see I have some phaser drums. Everyone's shocked. And it goes with this almost 70s style guitars going on.
steady pace. I won't fall behind. Ain't gonna be last in line.
Yep. And from there, we have the bubble organ. So the bubble organ sounds like this.
Fall behind.
And I should stop there. That bubble organ was played by my father, Mike Peters. It's such an honor to have him on this track, and he will be on more tracks of mine in the future. He's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. He's the driver behind a lot of the traits that I have, of course. And playing music with him is I've been doing it since I was 15 years old. He inspired me to pick up a guitar, although he's a piano player, but can play the hell out of the guitar too. Amazing vocalist, just one of the best musicians I've ever seen. And getting him on this track to play these organ bubble kind of parts, or they're not really an organ bubble. That's actually the name of the preset of the organ that I use that I made. But it's just it's the greatest. It's taken this track that I really love. I wrote this almost 20 years ago, and having him play the organ part I'm struggling for words because it really means so much to me. So here it is. Super groovy. And you can see here, this is the IK Multimedia Hammond B3X. That's what I'm using for the audio. You can see I have the drawbars down at the bottom, pulled almost all the way, and then some slight ones there. I have the percussion off, and if I go into advanced, I have the key click on, the on and off, both set to 0. I don't want any of that percussion in there. And then, of course, another good friend of mine, Chris McDonald from L&J Sessions. I got to play at Rising River and open up for L&J, and I was actually playing Curbside Prophet, but I was doing Jurassic 5 with Curbside Prophet, and I'm singing the song, and I'm like, what am I hearing? I think I hear a harmonica. And I look out in the crowd, and there's Chris with a harmonica. And Chris is just jamming on this harmonica like nothing. It's wild. And I immediately motioned to him like, yo, come on up. And he came on up, and we just jammed for like 2 minutes, just playing these amazing bluesy licks in the key of G. So I was writing this song. I'm like, this definitely has some G Love vibes to it. And I got the organ now. I need a harmonica on it. And I reached out to him, and it took him no time at all to say yes. So, Chris, you're the man. I can't wait to work with you more in L&J Sessions. If you're not already following L&J, please do. They just came out with a new song, The Light, just about 2 weeks ago. Check them out. They're an amazing reggae rock band out of New Jersey. So here's Chris's part. Hell yeah. This song builds based off those two things. I feel like the first verse, it's good, but it all leads up to that next part, that second verse. And Chris, my dad, it just, that's the spot right there. It's just like building that tension. You're going from that down chorus where it's really, I got chills. You're going from that down chorus where there's no drums, and then it's kicking back on with those drums, and then it goes into that kind of, I guess it's like a little bit hip hop style, that G Love style vocals with the huge gang vocals coming out of it. So absolutely love that. Listen to that groovy organ. freaking awesome. Oh man, I still go back and listen to that, and I'm just blown away how everything came together. And then when we start getting into the vocals, actually, let's look, before we do that, let's get back here to the drums and listen to these kind of all together. You get an idea of how all this stuff works. So that's going on while... Yeah, I love that. And then during this second verse, which is more got that flow, that hip hop flow, I do a lot of calls. These are the gang vocals, and I utilize, let me see, I think I do. Well, maybe not. I thought I used some, unless I mixed them down, which is a chance. There's a chance. I was using Little Altar Boy from Sound Toys to kind of change the format of my voice to make it sound like it was different people, not that like I'm a loser with no friends and no band. So it's like, hey, there's Dylan 6 times. So I was doing my best to make him sound different. But anyway, I panned him. The numbers here actually mean like time. So you could see this one's 9 o'clock, this one's 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and this one's right up the middle at 12, midnight. So this is what it sounds like.
Ever since I was a little kid.
Heavily compressed. So when I look at the glue compressor, I mean, look at this thing. Look at how many decibels it's compressing.
Ever since I was a little kid.
Yeah, normally I would not touch that much compression, but I like the way it sounded, and I needed to tame it. I'm yelling these things.
Wasted astronaut. 1, 4, 3.
So when I put that with the main vocals, let's just do it with the drum beat too.
Ever since I was a little kid, I dreamed big, always focusing on what I did. No time for negative thoughts or getting lost in the sauce, cause I'd be floating around in space like a wasted astronaut today. I'm feeling okay.
Little automation there.
At 1, 4, 3 is the stress from what left of my dignity. All the late night bouts spent on my couch.
All right, you get the idea. Those calls, like as an artist, you envision almost Beastie Boy style where people start realizing those calls and like you're playing to a crowd of, well, for me, 25 to 50 people, and they have all heard the song and they all yell out, "Ever since I was a little kid," and you're like, damn, that's cool. That part was inspired by The Far Side. Where they do that in multiple songs that you just can't help yourself but calling it out. All right, so going forward, we have again this bubble organ sound, and this time, this was added after my dad's part. I felt like this part just needed something different, and I used it, and I used the bubble organ, and I put some delay on it to give it this sound.
Late night bouts, spent on my couch, flipping through the channel, never know what it's about, but I'm hitting high gravity, sweating it all out of me. The only future that I see is shatter my anatomy, but damn, another shitty night of sleep on repeat for what feels like eternity. Instead of flipping through the channels, I've been searching indeed, find a job for 20K with my master degree.
And here we go with this part.
It's catastrophe, what they doing to us, it's blasphemy. Dishing it out, we always catching the blame. They be passing the hat, they ain't collecting from me. Run then out.
All right. So something different to break up the constant same chords. Really fun. So I think it needs a phaser. Gotta stop. All right. And from that, it builds into another down chorus, which is really neat because it's building up all this tension. They're passing their hat. They ain't collecting from me. And you're like, oh, he's angry. And then it kind of like
passing the hat, they ain't collecting from me. Running out of time.
Adding some claps in there.
We ain't got no time to waste. Moving.
I listen to that organ part. It's so cool. Yeah, just so cool. Such a great. And then what he does during the chorus is he like will call back the melody in an interesting, super fun way.
Moving
listen to it.
Pace, I won't fall behind.
All right, and then let's listen to Chris absolutely kill it once again. I'm just going to do some acoustic guitar, the drums, and his harmonica, because he just rips on this solo. Awesome. So tasty. Now, I said to my dad, I said, I really want you to rip on this. I want you to take a solo. It is so damn cool. This is his organ solo, the second half. Here we go. Wait for it. Here it comes. Ow, ow. Yeah. Oh, just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then for the guitar solo, I actually do this hammer on. And I actually, yes, I'm using the pedal board here. And I have this whammy. Let's see if it does it, if you can actually see it. Yeah, so you saw the whammy go. It's just doing that hammer on, but it's pitching it down as it goes. And then for the actual solo, I did what I typically do, and that is sing along to it. And I wanted this to be somewhat of, I don't know if 80s is the right term, but probably. For some reason, I have Huey Lewis in my head when it comes to this solo. I don't know why, but again, wanted to sing along to it for melody purposes, but then I ended up keeping it in, so it sounded like this. Yeah, so really melodic, lot of fun, cool solo, some interesting notes there. But then it goes back into the chorus, and I wanted it all to shut off at the very end, and I cut all the effects, everything, so the end vocal is extremely dry. So let's listen to that. You hear how dead that is? You can actually see that here in my effects bus. If I go through, oh, actually it's in the instrument bus here. If I look at look at that. It's just cutting everything at that point. If I didn't cut that, let's say this is what the ending would sound like. Ain't gonna be last in line. You hear that little tail? Didn't want that. So let's get rid of that back. So now. Ain't gonna be last in line. Yeah, real dead sounding. So that's it. That's Steady Pace. Another really, really, really long video, of course. But wanted to give you guys a look at all the different parts here. This one does have way more parts than typical for me, but I think it turned out pretty awesome, and couldn't be happier with having Chris and my father on this track. Honored that they both said yes, they'll do it, and hopefully they'll continue on, and you'll hear them on the next EP. All right, until next time, see you guys.